As I said before, I found this journal way in the back of a cupboard in my tower. I don't know what to say except this is terrifying, especially since I'm in the same tower. March 27th, 1997. This is the first time I'm writing right in the morning. I just have no words on what happened to David Green. It's terrifying. I don't want to leave because, well, money. But what if he just fell out of a tree or was climbing a cliff and fell? Yeah, I mean, that much blunt force could only happen by that. Jonathan just called, there's a fire. March 28th, 1997. There was a large fire. It's still going strong and I'm back here to rest before going back out there. I'll continue writing when it's done. April 2nd, 1997. With the help from Jonathan, myself, the fire department and a couple of other fire rangers, it was an extremely long job. Making fire breaks and using planes to drop fire retardants. It was a really tough job and it took 6 days until it finally stopped, and it was the most strenuous thing I've ever done. Apart from that whole event, I got my supplies. It was fairly rushed being near the end of the fire, but I got the normal things like food, toilet paper, but I also got a letter from my parents. They still don't like newer technology, which is fairly annoying, but whatever. Anyway, the letter was just about them loving me and that they are proud of me for taking this job. Just the normal stuff. April 3rd, 1997. The hard work has not stopped. 6 new missing persons cases have popped up after the fire. Jonathan mentions how sometimes people go missing during or after forest fires and don't normally return. April 5th, 1997. Me and Jonathan have been combing our sectors without touching the burnt area. The senior fire rangers and fire department deal with sorting out the final things like cold trailing, which means they are essentially checking for any tiny fires which could start the whole thing again. Anyway, me and Jonathan went early in the morning before checking our sectors and went to the car park, which was a good 3 hours walk for me and a whole 6 hours for Jonathan. We did meet near the middle of our tracks, so it wasn't that bad. In the parking lot there were 6 cars all parked next to each other, which we knew was the missing persons as the park was closed while the fire was ongoing. And of course, now when they've been cold trailing the burn area, the cars were your normal Honda, Toyota, and all of them were locked. We checked them with our flashlights and wrote down their license plates. In the back of a few of the cars were these big plastic storage bins. We didn't really know what to do, so we called a towing company to grab the cars and return them to the families of these people. April 7th, 1997. The cold threading has finished, and now me and Jonathan can go and search the burn area. We've been moving some plants and dirt into the burn area to try and make the forest regrow a bit faster. The tough weeds had already moved into the area to soak up the sunlight, but with nothing big growing, it's easier to search. April 8th, 1997. I was searching up near the burn area that was right against the mountains. I found a cave with weird moaning emanating from the cave. It sounded almost like a hurt person or like a crying baby. I steadied my flashlight and slowly went into the cave, and it was a fucking mountain lion. I barely saw a glimpse of its large white eyes that looked almost human-like, its teeth chattering slightly and snarling, so I bolted and made sure to avoid that area while I searched some more. April 9th, 1997. Again, I'm writing in the morning. I've talked to Jonathan a bit more and told him about the mountain lion. Jonathan said that we both should go and check out the cave together. I'm super excited for this and gotta go. Jonathan is calling for us to start walking. We explored a small amount of the cave. Jonathan went first with a Smith & Wesson. I really need to get one of those, and it was really cool. The entrance of the cave went back a bit before tightening, but we could still squeeze past. I flattened my back against the wall as we shuffled through. I didn't hear anything and I wasn't scared, but Jonathan was extremely tense. The cave split into multiple crevices except the main cave. A couple of other crevices were surprisingly furbished. One even looked like a basement. There was some weird clothing and just miscellaneous items, so we moved on quickly either way. At this point, Jonathan was barely speaking, almost keeping stuff away from me before we eventually tried to move the furthest we could into the cave. Jonathan waved his revolver as he was expecting the mountain lion, even though it couldn't fit through the starting gap. The smell of blood began quickly and Jonathan immediately started trying to leave. Despite my asking to continue, he just left. If I found that mountain lion myself, I would surely be dead, so I left with him. I want to go back there by myself, but I need to wait until I get more supplies, like a Smith & Wesson. April 10th, 1997. I was doing my final sweep of the burn area, which is just about searching for bones at this point, when I just came across a basement. It was like a basement for a lodge or house, and I took out my flashlight and descended. It smelled awful, like decomposing animals before I looked over the floor, and there were 7 bodies. 6 of them dead with their blood drained, all but one with a large ornate dagger. I left and just called the police and put a trail marker over where the basement was. I'm going back out with them, but I'm not going back into the basement. Even just that smell. It was like a mouthful of rotting meat and maggots just floating in the air, with the humid feel of it, like you're swallowed by a massive creature. I'm back from leading the police to the spot. It's been a couple hours, so I'm going to sleep, but first I'm going to have a shower downstairs before heading to bed. There was something downstairs. I didn't even finish walking down the stairs before I saw it. It was the deer from before. It had a gutted stomach. It looked dry and starved. I'm going to try and sleep, but I feel it watching me from my door. I can't sleep. I got a sharp knife and we are staring at each other. I've had my door locked. It's standing like a man. Its antlers are going past the top of the door with its already fucking eyes staring at me. I've been attempting to call Jonathan, and as soon as I said what was happening, he said, "Don't be scared, please," before turning off his side of the radio. What the actual fuck? April 11th, 1997. The deer left. I heard a loud thud last night as it fell out of sight. I'm scared to move, but I have to leave the station. I'm going into town and buying a gun the next chance I get, and maybe I found the deer. It must have collapsed from exhaustion just outside my door. There is no blood coming up my stairs, and the corpse is completely dry. There is something carved into the side of the deer, but no blood is coming from it. I'll try my best to write down what is carved into it. It's Mut Meramid Ihim Edenzo. I'm not sure what language it is, but I know I need to get a gun. With the part about the cave, I might go see if I can find anything there. Then the phrase I just mentioned, if anyone can find out what this means, please tell me. I'm super interested to find out.